But yes, what were some of your thoughts on the new music that dropped today?
Um, Not a lot. I mean, I wasn't too impressed with the B.o.B. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. My early thoughts are similar to yours. Do you remember when he was local down here, like when he was first blowing up,
I
like
do.
with the weed smoking anthem? I forget the name of the song, but
I
it was
do.
super big down here. You remember? You remember what I'm talking
I remember.
about? I think I was telling
You talking about
myself,
I'll Be in the Sky?
huh?
Are you talking about I'll Be in the Sky or before that?
It might be even before I be in the sky,
Okay.
but like this is before he had the deal. This is like the record that got him the deal. I mean, local.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes because we're from down here and we've been listening to him for so long and we know the talent that he is, are we looking at it from the perspective of the talent that he is and not the music? Because I hear some good stuff. I think we're both kind of unimpressed because we feel he's more talented than what the output is stating.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
No.
So are we listening through it through a jaded ear because we're from down here? Because I think kind of what makes us different than a lot of different people too is that we kind of open ourselves up to be vulnerable to those perspectives. Like we don't stand on too many horses too high around here, you know?
I
So I
think
thought
this,
about
man.
that.
I think that his talent, you know, he kind of has a Nelly thing going on, right? I think
Mhm.
this is what happened where, because if we keep it real and we remember the first time we ever heard Bruno Mars, superstar, was on the
Mhm.
B.o.B record.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
he had airplanes out there. You know what I'm saying? And he was a crossover artist seamlessly. And I think what tripped him up along the way was backtracking and trying to make the streets of Atlanta accept the music that you were making. And I
Okay,
think that's
so
kind of what ultimately brought Nelly back down too, because Nelly was making records that were just straight up crossover hits. He didn't have to come. He, he didn't have to go backwards, man. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to if you already skipped that point, there's nothing that you're gonna be able to do to make the people on the underground level like you now. You know what I mean?
you can't go back and get you can always go back home, but you can't be going back home to get underground type love when you've already crossed over.
They already
You have
see
to
you in
go.
a certain way.
Well, you also well that's what I'm saying. At that when you get to that stage, what you really have to do is build upon whatever it is that took you there. So let's go to somebody like Raekwon,
Mm-hmm.
because Ray is known for the purple tape. Well, a lot of his affiliation, the things that he's done, has been attached to the color purple. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Mm-hmm.
actual color purple. Because of that, because that's part of what he's known for. And
Yeah.
so there's purple tape stuff, and there's purple this from Ray, and you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's his
Because
brand.
because part of his brand is his most famous tape and one of the best rap albums out ever. I mean, it's the only classic rap album that it actually infamously dubbed something differently than what the actual name of the album is. It's not the name of the album at all, but we call it the Purple Tape. You feel what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and we said the
He's
purple
taking
tape in
that
hip hop. Everybody knows what you're talking about.
right. So he's taking that and run with it. You know what I mean? You got to kind of take and run with what got you to that point. And so you kind of like flip the game back. Even musically, you do so. It's like, so you look at Nas when he makes something like 40 Side. Well, it's like, well, that doesn't sound like Memory Lane, but the talk is the same.
Right.
But he can't do Memory Lane again, like lyrically or beat wise, ask that out of Preem. So you up you have certain formulas and you update your formulas with the time. I told you that's the best intro ever because it applies so much.
Listening to the B.o.B album, I wasn't impressed, but one thing I did hear is I heard moments in there. You know what I'm saying? And I heard
Yes.
the talent that's there, like as a lyricist. And it made me think, I think by song three. As an MC, I think B.o.B is the best bar for bar rapper in Atlanta that we never bring up and we never talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wrote that list that went viral or whatever for the top 25 Southern MCs. And not that, I think he is a top 25 Southern MC. But when I was making that list, his name, he didn't even cross my mind. And it's sad because he's very talented as an MC. Now we give Sahai those type of high marks, but for whatever reason, B.o.B, he just he falls under the radar in that sense, and it's unfair to his talent. And he's so young too. That was one of the other things I wanted to highlight too. When "I'll Be in the Sky" came out and it was on the radio in Atlanta on a local level, I heard it and was like, man, who's this guy trying to sound like 3,000? I didn't realize he was like 18, 19 years old though.
He's like
You
fresh
know
out
what
of
I
high
mean?
school. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you think about how impressive his output was from a quality standpoint, being so young, B.o.B is very talented, man. Not to mention, somebody mentioned in the chat, he plays instruments and all of those things. He
Mhm.
should be just as on a rap level, on a crossover level. I think that he should still. I ain't saying being as big as Bruno Mars, but let's just keep it real. That's his class. You know what I mean? Like he's
But let's talk about
proven
that
to that
class.
level where he can make music that hits those formats. I'll put it that way.
Let's talk about that class because I'm glad that you're bringing that up. That kind of makes me think on a level of is we not to harp on it, but we had this conversation about Lupe multiple times of like, well, did he just come along at the wrong time to get the appreciation that he truly deserves as an artist in order to thrive in the environment more comfortably? You get what I'm saying?
I think
Because,
he went the wrong direction, is what I think. I don't think the timing was his enemy.
okay, you don't. Okay.
Yeah, because
Because
I
I
think when
could
he
see him
came
getting lost
out,
in the shuffle around that time a little bit too.
yeah, I
You know
think
what I'm
that whole
saying? That's why
grand
I'm asking
hustle.
because it's like he's super talented, but charisma wise, is he a big star? Like no. Like how about this? Is like is he like he's more talented than Bruno Mars is to me? You know what I'm saying? But Bruno Mars is just charismatically and just overall. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's like B.o.B should be doing like some like they just said he can play instruments. I believe he can sing too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's like you can sing,
yeah.
you can
Now
rap, you
that
can play
part of it, I'll
instruments.
give you, Coop. I think his singing, rapping thing might have been slightly ahead of where
That's
it
what I'm
needed to be.
saying.
Yeah,
Because if you look at really what he does, doesn't Anderson Paak kind of do that?
yeah. You're
And then
right.
it kind
And
of
Anderson
fucking
Paak can
engaging
rap
to
too.
everybody now.
You're right.
Okay,
You're
that
right.
was my whole point.
You're
My
right.
whole point.
Because when Anderson Paak came in the door, he was billed as a rapper as well.
But he was revered for also having these musical skills. It's like, oh, he can drum, he can sing too, and
Wow.
like B.o.B.
And then the whole Bruno Mars connection, that's very interesting. Jay Short with the super chat. Shout out to Jay Short in the building early. He says, you go get a crew of gritty rappers from back home, put them on, and make them a group. They have to be better than the Saint Lunatics. Now, you know what? That Saint Lunatic situation was wild too, because when you think about it, Ali, who was Ali is very knowledgeable. Let's put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how he carries himself and just knowledge of self is what the term I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he even kind of rode the wave that was going on with the foundation that Nelly set. I thought that was interesting, man, because I'm sure those guys probably wanted to make something else other than country grammar and all of that, but they went with it.
I mean, see, this is what I mean. You have to understand, and people forget this. EI was the first single originally. The label switched and made it Country Grammar when they heard Country Grammar. EI was supposed to be the first single. EI, they had already made EI before they went to the label.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I thought we were going to hear was more EI and not Ride With Me or Country Grammar. You feel what I'm saying? Because
Right.
EI was like their local shit. And I still think EI is the best beat and the best song on that album, like personally.
Do you think that EI should have went before country grammar? I don't.
That depends on that's what I'm saying. How about this? It's like when you say that, it's like, okay, so that album did about 6 or 7 million units, right?
Yeah, it's hard to refute that, but yeah.
Okay, so you can't refute that, but here's what I'll submit to you. With EI, he's gonna go triple, but his street cred's gonna be different. You feel me?
Does he need the street cred if you're going out the
That's all
box
about. That's
like
what I'm talking
that?
about. It's all about how you want your career to go and how you want to shape it and brand it. And as long as you're cool shaping it and branding it, more in the vein of country grammar and ride with me and what's the
Yeah.
joint with Kelly?
Are you
As long as
talking
you're
about
cool,
Dilemma and stuff? Yeah.
dilemma. Like as long as you're cool with that, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
As long as you're
Dilemma's
cool with that,
on the
the same way
second
cool.
album, but yeah.
The same way Ray's cool with being labeled with the purple tape. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different lanes for everybody. You cool with hot in here and country grammar? Okay, that's fine. I'm telling you, if EI drops first, he's still going to be a very big multi-platinum rapper, but he's probably not going to do that 6 or 7, and he's probably not going to end up directly in that lane. But who knows?
So B.o.B's coming up during the time where Future has the streets on lock in Atlanta, and
See, there we go. That's
yeah,
not good.
and so the
That's not
streets
good.
of Atlanta are real hardcore with the club music, and I've always said this too, and no disrespect to any artist, but I want to put certain names out there to kind of paint a picture. But like when you got younger guys who make music in the vein of like a Corday or you know what I'm saying, or even Joey Badass to a certain degree. But I'll use Corday as an example since he's much younger. If you're going out with your friends and you're Corday, you're on, like really on,
Mm-hmm.
well respected. You go out with
Mm-hmm.
your friends, these are young cats. Nobody's playing your music in the clubs. How does that feel to a artist that you know what I mean is out there popping and they're young people like but they're getting acknowledgement from like people who aren't their peers on some older shit. Like how does that work? And I guess for B.o.B's situation and standpoint, the music that the crowd that his music, excuse me, was catering to wasn't clearly the crowd that he was and what his circle of friends looked like. So that's probably one of those things too, where his friends like, nigga, you need to make a song with Future, man. What you doing? You know what I'm
No,
saying?
no. So this is what it is. This goes to you. Remember, we still in this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very dope record, but that record's not for B.o.B.
Exactly. But
And
that
he's
record
dope
is
on
a
that record, and it's a
product.
dope record.
That's
And
that record is a product of him trying to, you know, get that kind of love.
right,
I remember when I saw Nelly doing that for the first time, and I was like, no, don't do this. And it was around maybe around Sweatsuit where he start kind of going that way. It's like, no, don't do this, man. You Nelly. You up here, and that's cool. You know, Drake's been able to balance that out really well too. And I think that when you think about people who haven't been able to have that kind of balance, you got to think that Drake has sat back and studied and saw what to do and what not to do.
what balance? What balance are you talking
I
about?
think the fact that like he'll jump on something like a Block Boy JB and you know what I'm
Oh,
saying, and do you know what I mean? Balance it out in that way. Like I'll make my shit, but I'm not gonna go totally conform on my single, but I'll jump on something that's already popping and get that kind of love in that way.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We
Very
made it.
smart.
We made it.
What's that? Yeah, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, with that being said, though, I
But
just
it's
think
different times. It's different
it is
people
different
behind the
times.
scenes handling his situations for him. You know what I mean? That's what
Right.
I'm saying. Like, because when I mean, and we're gonna kind of get to this in a minute. When Tip handling B.o.B situation some,
I think that was problematic too because he was a part of Hustle Gang, and I think that there has to be some level of pressure there to actually fit in with that crew musically.
yeah. Isn't Shoulder Lean popping around this time too?
Now that was well before that, but this is when they start making those Hustle Gang compilation albums.
Okay, so this is about 2 years after Shoulder Lean.